All right, guys. So you all just watched the video of the teachers there, and hopefully, I hope that you were able to pull out some good things, and we'll be able to go back as ELA leaders, and we'll go back and look at the responses that you guys shared. But so we're going to go into this next thought about our unit plans, and in the past, we've talked about it being like the unit plan being the ground, not the ceiling. But it may have given off the impression to some people that we were striving to be at the ceiling and striving for perfection, which is not the case. And so we want to make sure that we're thinking about it more as a buffet, right? So you go to buffets. I love buffets. I used to as a kid, not so much now because it's kind of gross. Um, but I want you to think about the unit plan as it being a buffet. At a buffet, you see all the possible options for what you can eat and what you can get and what you can put on your plate. But ultimately, what you choose is your decision, right? And so it's the same exact thing for our unit plans. It gives us vital information about objectives, end of unit assessments, guiding questions. However, the way you choose to arrive at those end goals is completely up to you. And I really want this year to free you up and free your minds to understand that like you have autonomy in your classrooms. Yes, we have a domain. Yes, we have a text, but really how you choose to arrive at those goals is going to be up to you. We know that we have these look fors that teachers are usually being asked to like make sure their classrooms are living up to those look fors. But ultimately, it's a way for us to make sure that our classrooms are continuing to be rigorous and that we're still pushing our students. And that is not going to change, but really the way that we get to that end goal is going to be up to you. All right, guys, we're going to go into the cycle of intellectual prep. So, you all likely have done so many of these things, and I promise you, we have so many amazing people in our ELA team who are amazing at intellectually preparing, right? And I think, that's true for so many people, but then there's also this element where things are going to start shifting a bit with how we plan. And so, I wanted to highlight a couple of those things. So the first step is reading and knowing the text's deepest meaning. You may choose to go about this in a different way, in a different approach, but this is just guidance that we thought would be helpful. Ask yourself, what are the big ideas that students had to understand the unit? That means I have to read the unit to know, like, what do I want kids walking away understanding? Now we go into identifying the objective of the lesson and how that is going to help us arrive at the deepest meaning. So let's say the lesson is focused on point of view. That's cool. But what is the point of this? Like, if I'm thinking about character's point of view, how does that help me in understanding the deepest meaning of the text? And that's the vehicle, the way that we should be thinking about it, right? We talk about reading. It is not meant for us to be like, I read to like smash this theme, or I read to like make sure I know how to apply the standard. But like, no, we read for enjoyment. We read for relaxation. We read for so many different purposes. And right now, we're going to make sure that as we read, ultimately though, we even if we read for enjoyment, it's for us to understand. Like, I don't want to read something I don't get, right? And so everything we do is going to be in service of getting to that deepest meaning. Then we look at our end goal or decide on how kids will show their understanding, right? So, what do I want kids to do to let me know that they mastered this skill or that they understood what we were working on in class? And then you should go back to the text to reread. If I know that today I'm focusing on word choice, I'm going to go back to the text to actually see like word choice that's helping me get to a deepest meaning, right? Like, I need to reread the text through that lens. And then lastly, as we start to move into the virtual setting, there's going to be a lot of things. Are you using Nearpod? Google Docs? Is this going to be a shared document? Is this an individual document? And all of those things you'll learn more about in our technology sessions that are going to be coming up later in our AO time together. Okay, so don't fret, but these things will come up. Okay, knowing the text deeply. So I'm going to pause there. And ultimately, as we get into the rest of this session, I want you guys to be thinking about how do we know the text? How do we learn the unit deeply and understand the focus areas of the unit? So as you go through, you'll find the essential questions that are really going to give you a good guide of the unit. But then also it gives you an idea of like, what are you even driving towards, right? You'll see the clarity section there as well. And then you get into the primary assessments. We have had a lot of assessments in the past, but you're going to notice in this year's unit that there's going to be a place where you'll see highlighted assessments. And those are the ones that you really want to focus on, okay? Those are the ones that we need to do. The other ones are at your discretion. You may decide, oh, I want to do this formative assessment because it gave me really good info last year, but you don't have to, okay? You're not held to that. Now, the objectives calendar is where it changes. So this looks, returning folks, you're going to be like, oh, this looks totally different. It does. We are going from units that were originally intended for 36, 37 days, and now we're going to something